Hey, pause YouTube, 6fthax here. Happy guys today, pretty fun RU Wi-Fi battle I had against TaceBreeze. Now originally I had a different game I wanted to upload, but little children like to get into cables and make stuff disconnect. So yeah, unfortunately couldn't upload a pretty good OU game I had, but hopefully you guys do still enjoy this video. And if you do enjoy the video, make sure to show off your support, hammer that like button down below, guys. Thank you for all the great support since the beginning till now. I think this is battle like 119. Also, we are like 50-ish subs away from 19,000 subscribers. So that's really awesome. Really hoping for 20k by the end of summer. But the team I'm using in this game was one I got off the forums. Leave a link to that down below. I really like this team just because it's got a pretty cool Delphox set, and I'm a huge fan of Pangoro, man. Absolutely love Pangoro. So going into this game, Golurk was going to be absolutely absurd for me to try to switch into because I don't really have a good switch into it. This Ambipom, sorry, can also be a really big nuisance just because fake out knockoff can deal with my Doublade accordingly, and then Piloswine could be a little bit of a problem depending on the kind of set that he is running. So he ends up leading off with the Ambipom as I lead off with my Scarf Flygon, take the fake out, go for the U-turn. As I bring in my Mantine, he's going to go for his own U-turn, which is really good to play on his parts as he actually ends up U-turning into the Piloswine. I thought that he was going to try and U-turn into the Roserade, but the fact that he brought in Piloswine should have screamed to me that he had Toxic or potentially the knockoff. So I stay in here just going for the Scald, trying to see how much damage I could do, and that does 0. On the bright side though, I do get the first turn burn, which is going to be really nice because it does make switching in to this Piloswine a little bit easier. Unfortunately though, he does end up getting off the Toxic on my Mantine, which does kind of suck because obviously now my Mantine is on a timer, and this Mantine actually doesn't carry Toxic. I think it was like Roost, Scald, Defog, and Haze maybe? I'm not sure, but the paste spin to the team is down below, and I'm going to decide to switch out here because I really have no use in just staying in here and trying to spam Scald, especially when you can just essentially get a free switch into the Roserade as I switched into my Pangoro. Unless this is a Life Orb offensive Roserade, there's no way he knocks me out. There's also the chance that maybe he could have the Dazzling Gleam. I'm pretty sure that Roserade learns Dazzling Gleam. Either way though, Leaf Storm still straight OHKOs me if it is Life Orb, so I do make the safe switch into my Registeel, which actually does take a pretty solid amount of damage, and the fact that he just took Life Orb automatically tells me, alright, this is offensive Roserade, which means this thing could actually be kind of problematic to deal with if my Roserade check, which is Registeel, gets too weakened. So I decided to switch here into my Pangoro, hopefully trying to catch him on a switch out into his Piloswine or potentially the Golurk, but he actually ends up making a pretty solid play here in going for the Lair Spikes, and that is actually going to be really annoying because unless I'm able to get on my own Stealth Rocks, which I want to try and defog before I try and get on my own rocks, then this Lair Spikes could prove to be a bit of a problem. So I'm able to do a solid amount of damage to the incoming Blastoise, and I decide to make a really risky play here, and I stay in and I go straight for the Drain Punch. My gut, oh my gut was telling me to knock off, but I just really did not want to risk taking more unnecessary damage from the Life Orb. So by going for the Drain Punch, I could have at least stayed at around 90% HP after recovering HP from the Blastoise, and I should be able to live literally any one hit from this Salazzle. So I'm gonna make a bit of a questionable play here and leaving in my Pangoro. Honestly, this is probably just a really big misplay on my part. Like, I could have easily switched out into Mantine, but I was really worried that he was gonna go for a Nasty Plot and then turn out to be the Psychium Z, not the Psychium Z, but the Poistinium Z Salazzle, which I have seen a lot in the RU tier from the bit of time I played it. So by bringing in Mantine, he gets a free +2, and then he just Z Sledge Bombs and knocks out my Mantine, and I really do need Mantine in this game. But on the double down, I bring in my Doublade as he ends up bringing in the Ambipom. He does end up getting a crit there with the knockoff. That does kind of suck, but I don't really think it ends up mattering entirely too much because the good thing about it is that late game, if everything is weakened enough, Doublade can actually just come in and win with Shadow Sneak. So he ends up bringing in the Mantine, not the Mantine, but the Blastoise, as I bring in my own Mantine, and is going to make a really good play here. Knows I'm not going to stay in, obviously fearing the Scald and potentially getting KO'd, and he's going to end up going for the Roar as he roars me into my Flygon, and this is actually really good for me because this allows me to get off just a little bit more chip damage on the Blastoise, as I will be able to U-turn back into my Mantine and potentially take a Scald, Toxic maybe, or I'm guessing well, he wouldn't Rapid Spin. Ice Beam, I guess, too? I don't really know what Blastoise can carry in RU. RU honestly is like the tier I probably know the least about, and I definitely should try and play it more. I do know recently Heracross got banned because apparently it was way too good for the tier, so may try Heracross and UU and see how things go. But either way, I'm just gonna try and go for the default here. I want to absolutely get rid of this layer spike so he can't just really phase me and chip my team down, and every time I switch in a Pokemon, they are now not going to be taking that extra little bit of damage. So in comes the Roserade. At this point, I'm very positive he doesn't have the sleep powder, so I'm going to make an aggressive switch directly into my Delphox. With him losing Salazzle and losing his Ambipom, he has no Pokemon that is going to be faster than my Delphox at this point. And as long as I can keep up offensive pressure, I shouldn't allow him to get a free switch into the Golurk, which, as I mentioned, I have no safe switch-ins to Golurk. If it's got Stone Edge or Thunder Punch, it just beats my Mantine. So I'm going to end up making a aggressive setup play here. I know that may sound a little bit odd, but I knew he wouldn't stay in. His best switch-ins were either going to be this Blastoise or the Piloswine. So at +1, I think I did have a slight chance to knock out the Blastoise at the range of HP that he was at, but I needed to get absolute maximum damage, so I decided still to just go straight for the Calm Mind to get off as much damage on the Blastoise or potentially get that roll in my favor. Unfortunately though, he does end up living on 8 HP as he told me, and because if I knock out this Blastoise, it gives him a free switch into the Golurk. So what I'm going to do is switch out Registeel into my Mantine, which if my Mantine takes down the Blastoise, it will deter him from wanting to bring in the Golurk. And if Golurk is a rock polish set or just an offensive set in general, again, it can just come in, potentially set up and Sweet Blade game, or just get a free KO because again, no switch-ins to that monster. So I do end up going for the defog here again, just wanted to get rid of this layer spikes. Really don't need my team taking this unnecessary damage every time they are trying to switch in to check whatever he wants to bring in. Although it does allow him to save the Blastoise, which could be a little bit annoying. It's not entirely that big of an issue because I can essentially get a free switch back here into my Delphox. I did kind of expect him to go for the Sludge Bomb, but as long as he does not get the poison, I should be in a pretty okay spot to still potentially just get a KO here with my Delphox. And very positive that he would just either stay in, predicting me to Calm Mind, predicting a switch, or just sacking off his Blastoise. I decided to make the aggressive play and going for the Side Shock as I'm able to pick off the Blastoise. This is really good as he's going to try to bring in the Golurk. Now, in normal scenarios, Delphox doesn't essentially have any move to just straight OHKO Golurk, but this is why I really like this team for this Delphox, because I actually have the Solar Beam with the Gracium Z, making it into Bloom Doom, which means this Golurk, unless it is Focus Sash with Rock Polish, is about to absolutely get blown back because there's no way he's going to live. As down goes his Golurk, that was essentially his last biggest threat because at this point his last mons are this Roserade, which I outspeed, and the Piloswine, which is burned. And even if I didn't burn the Piloswine with my first Scald from Mantine, I could have then still switched into my Mantine pretty safely and spam Scald against it until eventually I beat it 1v1, put it in range of where I revenge killed it or he knocked me out, and then I just get a free switch into something else. So, well, I guess that's kind of the same thing as me revenge killing it, but you get what I'm trying to say. It doesn't really matter what the Piloswine does at this point. So I unfortunately stay missing Fire Blasts because I never learned my lesson. Hey man, you gotta risk it to get the biscuit, okay? That's all I can say. So down goes my Delphox as I'm gonna bring in my Flygon here. Obviously I can live one Ice Shard, so what I'm gonna do is just try to get off as much damage as I can on this Piloswine to put it in range of where I have a better chance of beating it 1v1 with my Mantine, as he does end up just picking me off here with 2 Ice Shards. I can now get a free switch into Mantine, and at this point, I don't think Piloswine run Freeze Dry. Like, I'm very positive they don't run Freeze Dry. I know I've seen a couple Mamoswines that run Freeze Dry, which is actually kind of cool, but never seen little Mamos here that run Freeze Dry. So either way, shooting a pretty good spot here to just safely outspeed, unless he does go for the Ice Shard and knock him out with the Scald, and that is going to be the victory in my favor. So fun game to TaceBreeze there, guys. Make sure to go check him out. His channel link and stuff is going to be down below. Again, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to hammer that like button down below. And again, guys, we're super close to 20K, just 1,050 away I think, like around there, like 50-ish away from 19K, and then from there 1,000 to 20K. Just thank you guys, thank you so much. And yeah, should have a upload for you guys tomorrow. Also, for those of you who may be wondering about the soloing, Kyle and I have just been really busy, so hopefully today on Monday we're gonna be able to get around to recording a couple videos for that, and then we'll be back on track, and then the next part should be on his channel. Then on Thursday, episode 7, I think it's either 6 or 7, will be on my channel on Thursday. So yeah, with that being said, guys, I'll see you all tomorrow. Later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in a knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.